Hey guys, how's it going? Hopefully everyone had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. Pretty much enjoyed it. Relaxed after my first week of work, actually, kind of surprisingly. I enjoyed my weekend. Had boot camp, did some running, and boot camp and hung out with some friends. So that was pretty awesome. I enjoyed it. So hopefully everyone's weekend went well and they had fun. Also, hopefully your week starts really great as well. Hopefully mine as well. So let's see how that goes. But today I actually wanted to make a video about something that happened to me a long time ago, which I think it's kind of one of like the hardest things I could ever talk about. So if throughout the video, if I kind of stop and pause for a bit, it's just that it's not easy for me to talk about this subject. But yeah, it's basically about an accident that happened to me a very long time ago. But I'm going to kind of go explain into detail of kind of what happened. I don't remember the whole detail because the situation happened when I was 3 years old. So I don't quite remember, and I forgot a lot about how it all happened or what happened in that situation. But I'm going to kind of show you. That way you can visualize to see how it all came about. So bear with me throughout the whole video. But the kitchen that I'm going to be in, it's not the exact same kitchen that it happened, because I don't live in that house anymore where it happened. This happened way back, I want to say 93, when I was 3 years old. Yeah, 93, 92. 92 I think. Yeah, 92. And so, but yeah, so bear with me. It's a subject that I think it's kind of, I should put out there, because I really think I just should, just that way others can know who I am overall and what happened to me. So, whew. Okay, so let's start. So back in 1992, yeah, that's the exact year actually. I was 3 years old, and I actually almost died back in 1992. So let me go about how all that came about, and I'm just kind of happy that I'm still here. But yeah, it was kind of a devastating thing of what happened. But so basically, that year, back in 1982, my parents, I believe, got a new stove. They bought a new stove and they got it installed. Don't remember which company it was. It was bought from. I don't know if it was Sears or if it was like a Lowe's or Home Depot. I don't quite remember the full details about it. But my parents got a stove, and they had it installed by them, by whichever company. So yeah, that's how it's going to be. So the stove. So what happened was, we were all living normal lives. It's kind of hard to be there on what happened, but it was really one of the worst things that ever happened to me in my life, I think. Also for my parents too, what they had to go through, because that was one of the hardest things ever. But foremost, I will say this and kind of explain it too, that I don't blame anyone for what happened to me. Growing up, I thought it was, my parents' fault or my brother's fault as well, but realizing that it's no one's fault at all. It was just an accident that happened. And I'm just glad that I survived it. But yeah, so throughout growing up, it was kind of hard, but I've come to realize that it's no one's fault. It's just an accident that happened a long, long time ago. So yeah. So I'm going to turn my computer around to kind of show a little bit about everything. Let me just kind of unplug my connection. My computer's a little bit old, 5 years old, so it doesn't hold its charge as well as a lot of computers. So give me one moment, bear with me. So let me turn it around. So hopefully I can see the kitchen back there. So yeah, kitchen's right there. So what happened? Me and my brother, this is my middle brother. Not going to mention any names either because I don't want to call him out there or anything like that. But me and my brother, the middle one, we always mess around a lot. We always play. I grew up in a house just full of brothers, so we always fought a lot. So that was kind of like it was pretty intense. We always had fights, and it wasn't something that was just yelling at each other. No, it was with actual muscles, with hands, and hitting one another. But it was not that intense where we would give each other bloody faces or anything like that. No, we would just hit each other or hitting each other's because one was bigger than the other and stuff like that. But it was pretty cool growing up with my brothers because we learned a lot from each other. We learned how to take care of ourselves, how to protect ourselves, and be in self-defense situations and all that stuff. So. But growing up with them, it was pretty awesome. But me and my middle brother, we always played a lot. He is 4 years older than me. So at the time, back in 1992, I was 3 years old. I was the baby in the family. So yeah, and my brother was 4 years older than me actually. So we were always playing around in the house. We got our toys or something like that, or just watching TV or going outside, riding the bikes and whatnot. So I would be the one following my older brothers. So I was either following my middle brother, going somewhere with him, or my oldest brother as well. So going one or the other. So what happened in this instant, what I kind of don't, like I said, I don't remember the whole situation because I was 3 and I don't have too much knowledge of the whole situation. So what happened was my parents got a stove installed. And one of the things that when someone gets a stove installed, they're supposed to, I'll kind of show you, they're supposed to be resistant to tipping over. So they're going to be installed or kind of being able to get installed to not tip, being just stable. So I'm guessing the company and my parents didn't know that. So that's main point there, that my parents didn't know that. When they came to install it, they said that it was all good and whatnot. So my parents didn't know that, so they were using the stove like it was perfectly normal. It never tipped on anyone, so we didn't know that it was going to tip or anything like that. So the reason why they do it that way is because for most cases that way nothing can fall on you when it's hot. And so so what happened was this certain day, I believe my dad was working because it happened during the day, and I wasn't in school, so and I think my brothers were I think it was either the summer when it happened, or when they were in school too. I don't know. I don't remember the situation or when it happened or anything like that. So basically, me and my brother, we always enjoyed pancakes. I was a beast when I was a little kid, so we enjoyed pancakes, and my mom would always make us pancakes, so like in the morning or something like that. And so what happened in this certain situation was my mom was actually, she was making dinner. There you go. She was making dinner before my dad got home. So what she did was I actually kind of put a replica of it back there. It's not the same size. I don't think so. I think the pot was a lot bigger than that. So bear with me. So my mom had a big pot of boiling water to get boiled, and she was going to throw in some chicken in there. I forgot what she was making that day or whatnot. And I do remember my mom telling us, don't go into the kitchen, don't go playing around. I have something in there that's being heated up and all that stuff. Well, I'm 3 years old. I don't know what's going on, I'm a little dumb kid. So we saw, my brother, the middle one, he knew that one of the main ingredient that you need to make pancakes is water. Of course, you need some other stuff too, but yeah, the main ingredient was water. So my mom had said that she was boiling water and not to go into the kitchen or anything like that because it was really hot. And so we were troublemakers, basically. In Spanish, traviesos. So we would kind of like sneak around and do our own thing and all that stuff, but my mom told us specifically not to go into the kitchen. And when you're little kids, when they tell you not to do it, you're like that. You're in your mind, you're like, oh, I want to do that, but sometimes you shouldn't, because then something bad would happen. But so my mom told us not to go into the kitchen, and then she was in the living room. I think she was talking to a friend or something. I don't remember what it was. But of course, in order for water to boil, you need to give it some time, especially to reach a high boiling point. And I don't remember the boiling point that it reached. I think it was at 375 degrees. Don't get me wrong. I don't know too much about. I don't remember too much about that right now. But I know she had it on high heat at that moment, so she had it where she wanted it to boil. That way, she can put in the chickens in there and with seasoning and all that stuff. So that was going on, and the water was already boiling for half an hour, or maybe longer. It might have been an hour, but she was on the phone still in the living room. So what happened was that me and my brother, I want to say that I think I remember, was that we wanted to make pancakes because we saw that there was water. Of course, in the pot. So we wanted to make pancakes. So we were, like I said, we were troublemakers. We were like, my brother was saying, Mom told us not to go in there, but we want pancakes. Ooh, let's go in there. So what happened was, and let me go kind of put it to that way y'all can see of how it happened. So basically, hopefully, let me kind of show y'all. Wait, sorry. So basically what happened is that I was little, I was 3 years old, and my brother was the oldest one, Um, and then my older brother, he was in another room. But so what happened was that, we decided that we should, in order to get to the water, to pull down the oven door, and then we could climb on it and take the top off. Now, just be aware that the pot was much bigger than that. I just put it there just to visualize of what happened or how it all happened. To take the top off of the pot and pour in the pancake mix. That way we can make our pancakes. Mix it in the water. Um, so yeah. So that's what we were thinking about doing. Is that we would climb on top of the oven door, take out the top of it, and then mix it in the pancake batter, and then start mixing, and then we would make the pancakes. Of course, your parents tell you not to do something for a reason. And that reason is most likely you should follow it. Because something will go badly. And of course, something badly did happen. So this water has already reached its boiling point because it was boiling at a little over half an hour to an hour. I don't remember the time frame that it was boiling at, but it's already reached its high potential boiling point. I don't remember if it was 375 or 475. It was in between there, but it reached its boiling point, which we didn't know it was going to be hot. So the kitchen in here doesn't kind of portray it. My actual house that I grew up in, the kitchen was a lot wider. We didn't have little space like this kitchen does, but I'm just kind of showing y'all that way I can get a visual idea of how it happened. So like I said, stoves are supposed to be either balanced or something, either connected to a wall or being able to get balanced properly. That way they won't tilt over. And this is supposed to be done by the people whoever installed the stove. And that was done by the company where my parents bought the stove. So what happened was, it was my brother over here, and then it was me over here. Right directly in front of the actual pot. There you go. The actual pot. And so my brother, he took the top off. And then we started pouring pancake mix. Now this is where it kind of got really, really bad. We started noticing that the stove was tilting over, and that the pot as I kind of demonstrated there, was moving forward, moving forward. And remember, we already took off the top. So it was all moving forward towards us. Now there's two kids on top of the stove door. But we weren't that big. Know that for sure. But still, the stove started tilting over, and my brother saw that. Right instantly, he jumped. Well, I'm still 3 years old. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. My brain is still getting itself organized and all that stuff. So, the pot, literally, and I will show you right now, fell all on top of me. Like so. So it fell all on top of me, and like I said, the water had reached its boiling point. Give me one more. I'm going to close the oven door. And it's hard to describe what I felt at that moment, but it wasn't really easy. It wasn't like a really small scream. It was a yelling my guts out so loud and crying at the same time. It was really, really loud. My neighbors heard that from next door. I lived in a neighborhood, we had a lot of neighbors. My two neighbors from each side heard it. My mom, when she heard that, she just dropped the phone. My brother in the other room rushed. My mom rushed. She saw a little boy, 3 years old, that just got hot, boiling water that fell all over him. It was, I think that's the worst experience in my life that I've ever felt. And it was really, 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 really painful. I'm going to move the camera around. Yeah, it was really, really, really painful. My parents are immigrants from another country, and now they've been U.S. citizens since the 90s, but they didn't have that much proper education of what to do or anything like that. So when my mom saw that, right away she told my oldest brother to call 911 right away. The next thing she did was that she went in. I don't remember if one of the neighbors came rushing over. I think they did, because they were helping out my mom, because my dad was still at work. But my mom went into the restroom and she turned on the water on cold right away. And then she went over and she grabbed me. And she rushed me with me yelling and crying my lungs out. Also bleeding too, because my skin was burning up. My skin burned. And so it caused me to bleed. So she rushed me into the restroom. And she was pouring me with just cold, cold water to calm down. My body temperature was rising up. I don't remember too much about that situation, but yeah, it's just to imagine. It's hard for me to explain, like I said, on how I was yelling and crying, but it's not something that you want to hear. Especially if you're a parent and you have a kid, you don't want to hear your kid screaming and crying at the same time for an injury that happened. But it was 10 times more worse than like just a regular crying baby. She just kept pouring me with water, pouring it all over my body. because like I said, it was hot boiling water, 375 or higher. I don't know the exact temperature of the water, and it was at 475 degree Fahrenheit in the oven, temperature wise. So that's how high it was. I remember according to the oven thingy or the stove. Sorry. So yeah, my brother got off 911. I think the neighbors came in and they started helping my mom out. Ambulance, firefighters showed up. All I can kind of remember is that they took me in and they had me in the ambulance truck with my mom there beside me. My mom crying. I think it was a lot harder for her because it was one of the worst experiences ever of having your own son or maybe your own daughter go through that type of situation. She just lost it. She was crying. And of course, like I said, my dad was still at work. So they rushed me and my mom in the ambulance to the hospital. It was Parkland Hospital, actually, too. And we got rushed over there right away. My brother stayed at the house. The neighbors stayed with them, cleaning up the mess that was all there, and trying to take care of my brothers. And then the neighbors, I think, called my dad to let him know what happened. So what I do know is that we get to the hospital and they take me into the emergency room right away. To kind of see how I looked. How can I similarize it? Because I haven't seen anything on TV. But if y'all have seen Star Wars, the recent ones, Episode 3, where Anakin Skywalker turns into Darth Vader at the volcano scene. It wasn't fire that did it to me. Mine was boiling water, but it kind of looks similar to that. But it wasn't as bad as him, though. But it looked a little similar to that. Yeah, basically, I had no more hair and all that stuff. Because the water, literally fell all over me. And so they put my mom in a waiting room, separate. And then my dad arrived, and then so he started calling all the family and everything that we have back home in Dallas, and letting them know about the whole situation and all that stuff. So a lot of them actually came at that moment. Well, once my dad and my mom were actually there, and a few other family members, I believe so, I don't remember exactly, the doctor came out and they went to go speak to my parents. This was the hardest part ever, what happened. So I was 3 years old and I just got watered all by hot boiling water. The doctor said, what I remember what my mom and my dad had kind of told me already, is that the doctor had told them that I was losing so much blood at a fast rate. And the age that I was, and the type of water that was thrown all over me, or accidentally fell all over me actually, like a waterfall. my parents that there was some really, really bad news. Uh, he basically told my parents that I only had a 10% chance to live, or maybe less than the 10% chance to live. That the percentage of me not surviving this was really, really high. It was at the 90% or more. Because I've lost so much blood and my body has intaken so much boiling water all over me that they didn't think I was going to survive. Like I said, it was a lot harder for my mom, and I know it was really, really hard for my dad too. Just, having or seeing your son or your daughter suffering, it's something like that. It's going to devastate the parents. And I know it devastated them so much that they broke down. I know my mom said that she just kept crying and crying and crying, that she didn't want to believe what the doctor said. Like I said, I was the baby in the family, and my mom wanted to do anything possible for me to survive. And so the doctor came out to basically get permission from my parents to operate on me and start doing anything possible for me to survive. Because, like I said, they only gave me 10% chance less for survival rate of from the whole accident. One of the only problems, though, was that the doctors wanted to know what blood type I was to do blood transfusion. The only thing is that my parents didn't know the blood type I was. They never got to get around to that, because, like I said, my parents were immigrants. They came from another country, migrated from another country. They weren't educated with nutrition, biology, or anything like that. They still graduated from high school and all that stuff, but they just didn't get the proper education in college or anything like that. So my parents didn't know like what you would do. Like, I now understand that I should know my blood type and all that, and my parents didn't know that. But my mom also had read and had saw on news a lot that a lot of people who get blood transfusions sometimes get diseases from the blood transfusions, so she never trusted them. And when my mom sees something, she kind of starts believing it, and she just kind of avoids it. So she didn't know my blood type, but she didn't want a blood transfusion either. The doctors told her that I was losing a lot of blood, that they needed to do blood transfusion right away, and they needed to start operating on me and doing all that stuff. My mom she put her foot down, and she just didn't want it. But she also didn't know, neither my dad. And my dad asked, what other type of treatment can do in order to recuperate the blood and all that stuff. I know what they said was that there was this new type of treatment. I don't know what it was, so don't ask me or anything like that. Where basically they they start putting in fluids in my body system that would help recreate, the blood cells in my body. Little by little. And doctor said that it was kind of like a new experimental treatment But Parkland Hospital is known for a lot of burn victims, and a lot of them come there. There's a specialty of a group of doctors that work there, so they kind of know all these different procedures that kind of help out and all that stuff. So the doctor explained to them about the treatment, and my parents agreed to it, but they still gave the 10% or less possibility that I was going to survive. The percentage was 90 or more for me not surviving it. So yeah, I almost died once. I can't, because I wasn't literally there, but I don't know how my parents reacted, but I know that it wasn't the best scenario ever. I can kind of just imagine it in my head. My mom just breaking down on the floor, crying her lungs out, because her baby of 3 years old was suffering in the hospital, and he might not survive. My dad also was there too, devastated, same thing, that his baby son might not survive from this accident, and that they would have to plan a funeral. They started doing the whole procedures, and they did input a lot of other drugs in me, that way I can sleep, and they would do their work and all that stuff, but it wasn't easy at all, especially going through that. Especially for my parents, the idea that I was going to die, possibility in the hospital for an accident that happened. Well, one of the cool things that the doctor told my parents was that from the whole procedures, it looks like he was going to fight. That technically, what he was saying was that I was going to fight, and he saw that it seemed like I was going to keep fighting in order to survive. Basically, like, kind of make sure that these procedures go well, and allowing them to do whatever they needed to in order for me to survive. And I don't remember how long the procedure was, or anything like that. I don't remember anything that happened in the hospital. I don't remember too much of that whole situation. But all I do know is that after the procedures and everything, after they put me in a room and they kept me there and they monitored me, my parents were always there. They saw that I was fighting and not, I was basically beating that 90% or more of me dying in the hospital from this accident. And I was making sure that that little percentage, 10%, was going to outweigh the 90 plus of me dying, which I did. I survived. It's never easy, like I said, to to talk about this. Like I said this in the beginning, it's not easy for me to talk about this type of subject, but I just think it's kind of cool that I should kind of open it out and put it out there. But yeah, I survived this accident of me getting hot boiling water like a waterfall that accidentally fell all over me in my own house in the kitchen. And it was, like I said, too, it was no one's fault. I don't blame my parents. I don't blame my brothers. It was an accident that happened. That accident changed my life so much. I was able to recuperate the blood loss with a different procedure. So I was regaining all the blood that I was losing, and my skin was healing up back. The doctors did, of course, suggest that I should get some surgery to kind of replace some of the skin with the burnt skin. Because literally my skin was all burned, even my face. You can't really tell anymore, but before, when I was a little kid growing up, a lot of people could tell my face was all different. I had scars of it. But yeah, I survived it. Procedures helped out. Different surgeries. I don't remember how many surgeries, but I know I had a lot. They did skin grafts on me, which is we did a lot of them. And the cool thing was that they basically removed skin from my legs, because that was like one of the lower part of the legs. That was like the part that wasn't burnt or anything like that. So it was like good skin still. So they removed skin from that, and they started placing it over the front part of my body, and also this arm, a little bit. It's not all of it, but yeah, this arm. But since I was a little kid, there wasn't enough skin to go around, so I didn't get any skin grafts done anywhere else on my back or anything, nor my lower butt. Yes, my butt got burnt too. Nor this arm. So yeah, so I basically, I know I stayed in the hospital for a while, and the doctors always looked over me, making sure I recovered. Because this was an accident that happened, my parents sought legal action on the company basically where they bought the stove. The people that they used to install it, they didn't properly install it correctly, where it wasn't able to tilt or anything like that. So I know that my parents did win the legal action, and so the company basically, I don't remember which one it was, like I said, they paid for everything. My parents didn't pay a dime for it. They paid for everything. But it's never easy that you can say on a daily basis that I actually almost died once, maybe twice. It's not, you rarely see those type of things where someone survives it. And that doctor said that, yeah, I was a survivor. And he said that I was a fighter, and he was kind of happy to see that I was able to fight through it, and I was able to survive it, and I outweighed the 90+% that they said that I was going to die. But yeah, that was really the worst day of my life that I've ever had, and it was probably one of the worst days of my parents' lives too, because it just changed the whole thing. But it changed my life too, because growing up, it was hard because I went through a lot of bullying in high school, in elementary, middle school, and some in high school. Not too much though. I think a lot of people got over that stage already by high school. But elementary and middle school, I got bullied a lot, made fun of. A few things that they would always say. It's like, look at the crusty face, look at burnt boy, and all the other nicknames that they gave me. I don't remember. But yeah, they made fun of me a lot in high school. It was not an easy childhood. Growing up with third-degree burns, that's what they called it. They called it third-degree burns, one of the highest degrees of burns you can get, and it's never fun to go through that, especially experiencing it as a child, growing up a teenager in middle school and then somewhat in high school too. But yeah, I got made fun of. A lot of people were scared to sit next to me because you can kind of still see the scarring in the upper part of this arm and then up from this arm too. A lot of people were scared, and you can still kind of see it on the back too. It's kind of disappeared a little bit, but you can still kind of see it. And some people were disgusted too to see that type of stuff. So it was never easy. It's still not easy because a lot of people don't like seeing that kind of stuff, and they get very judgmental and they're like, "Stay away from me," or it's like, "Ew, disgusting. That's gross," and stuff like that. This is why one of the main reasons too is like why I don't take off my shirt when I'm going swimming or anything like that, because I know that's one of the main things that's going to happen is just people are just going to look at me and they're just going to be disgusted by it. And you know, I've lived through that all my life. It's something I can't change. You know, people are going to be like that. And it just kind of sucks to see that stuff of someone being judged or being made fun of or having seen these disgusted looks of what other people are when people see it. And it hurts, you know. But I live my life. I don't care what other people say or what they think about it or how their looks are or anything like that. I just keep moving on. This whole situation, the accident, me fighting in the hospital, me growing up and all the bullying and made fun of at school, because of it, it kind of made me who I am. I'm a fighter, and I keep fighting for myself, making sure I move my way up in life and doing things that I enjoy doing. It motivates me to keep doing what I need to do. Like, I know I'm back in school now, so I'm gonna keep fighting to finish school and graduate soon. When something bad happens, I'm gonna keep fighting until I overcome what bad happened. And so it's just, I've learned so much from this whole situation. It made me a person who I am, and I'm kind of glad for it. So yeah, so I'm trying not to go over an hour with the video. So right now I'm going to kind of show y'all a little bit of my scars. Please, no bad comments about it. Don't get if you're going to get disgusted, don't put it on the comment area. But it's just, that way I can see it. I really don't show a lot of people. I'm very conscientious of myself, especially when people make fun of me. I'm like, ugh, it sucks. But I just, move on with it and I keep walking. But yeah, so one of the things when you get burned, especially with hot boiling water, is you're not supposed to touch it. You're supposed to just leave it alone. My parents, they didn't know that. Like I said, they weren't that educated with any of this kind of stuff. So when that happens, they basically kind of start leaving like marks, and so that's going to show when it starts like building up again. So not sure if y'all can see it, but I'm going to kind of put it up close. You can kind of see like the little markings on there. That's basically burnt skin that I got. It's different from my regular hand where it's not like that. The other thing is my hand. Wow. So you can see it's not all the way, but yeah, that's part of the burnt skin there. So this is one of the areas that my mom grabbed when she was getting me into the restroom to pour cold water on me. So that's what happens when you touch it. So yeah, that's part of it. Here's another part in the back of the arm right there, so you can see it. Like I said, I was a little kid, so I didn't have that much skin for skin grafts, so they couldn't put it everywhere, but they did put it in some areas. So yeah, that's another part there. Now I'm not going to show you my butt, so don't ask. But I will show you my back. So let me make sure I do this properly because I don't want to show my front. Like I said, I'm a little conscientious of myself. But I'm going to show you my back though. So one moment. Whoa. Oops. So yeah, that's my whole back there. That's what happens when you get third-degree burns. It's something that I see on a daily basis. Let me see if I can get a... Okay. So, something that I see on a daily basis, and I see myself differently from everyone else. That's why I kind of relate to, please don't judge me, one of my favorite movies is X-Men, for being different and not being accepted. Because it's something that I always went through on my daily lives. A lot of people don't accept that. They would judge me, they would be disgusted, and they would just kind of avoid it as much as they can. And it's kind of sad because it's just, I'm not normal. I've never been normal. And, you know, I see everyone with... this is one of my things that I always fight myself with. That everyone has perfect skin, I can say. And I fight myself, like, that's one of the things that I go with on a daily basis. It's like that I always wished that I could get just regular skin again. You know, how so much I would wish I could just have regular skin again. Especially on my back, my butt, my arm. That would help me so much. You know, because I always see everyone going around with that nice, perfect skin, and I just kind of tell myself every day, I wish I had perfect skin again, or it's not perfect, but, you know, normal skin where I wasn't burnt. So this is technically like my tattoo, so to speak. It kind of, and I've come to terms with it, that my tattoo is like a mark is showing that I'm a fighter, which motivates me to keep moving every day, even though there are days, sometimes really, really bad, dark days, where I just, I wish I just had regular skin. But then there's better days where I just kind of use what I see on a daily basis on myself, and it just kind of motivates me to be better than anyone else. Even though people judge it, people look at it disgustingly and make faces about it and stuff like that. I just kind of let that pass me and just keep walking forward and keep going forward. And so, yeah, it's not easy, especially growing up with these type of scars. But I kind of look through it now. I accept it, and I don't allow it to bring me down, but I use it to motivate me more to keep fighting, just like that doctor told my parents. So that was that was not easy to talk about, and I do apologize for the video being an hour long, but yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. I do want to thank y'all for listening to it and stuff like that. It's not easy for me to talk about this subject, but I've known a lot of people through college and through work. Some people just don't want to ask about it, and I can kind of tell when they try to avoid that subject all the time. I can literally tell. And then when someone does ask me, they kind of politely ask, if you don't mind me asking, like, what happened to your skin? And, because curiosity, it's in everyone's face. Everyone's always curious to know something. So I really don't like talking about it too much, but I kind of get like the brief basics of what happened. I don't kind of go in full detail or anything like that. But I just wanted to put it out there, And now, like I said, I want to say that I want to come to terms to accept it now. There has been doctors telling me that I should get skin grafts on my back. Operation's pretty expensive, but it is part of the body with the vertebrae. Hopefully I said that right. It's basically connected to my backbone. So it's a really hard procedure because you're basically kind of removing that part of the skin, and you want to make sure that you don't mess up on anything that could end up life term. The doctors have told me that little by little the skin does go away, like part of the skin does go away, and I have seen it. There has been parts of my body that I can now see clear skin, but it's not, going to happen right away. It's going to take time, probably until like I'm 50. I don't know. But, I do know that because of it and how it's attached and how everything it is on my back, that I will have back problems at a younger age than a normal person, which, woohoo, yay. But if that ever does happen, then I would most likely consider skin grafts later on in life, but not right now. It doesn't bother me right now or anything like that. But I just feel motivated now to keep on going and keep on fighting and doing what I need to do. And I am kind of glad that I opened up about this, and if y'all have like any advice or anything, motivation, bring it my way. Kind of accept it. And I'm kind of glad that I kind of opened up to y'all and letting y'all know of what happened to me. Like I said, I don't blame anyone. I love my parents to death. I love my brothers to death. And it was just an accident that happened that changed my life. And, I adapt to those changes and I move on. No matter the path that I go through, no matter how bumpy that road is, I'm still going to go through and, prevailing, moving up the mountain, little by little. But I'm going to continue fighting and all that. But yeah, I don't want to keep y'all too much longer. I got to go walk my dog real quick, and then I got to go get ready for work tomorrow. But thank y'all for letting me talk about it. And please feel free to comment, give me any advice, any motivation. I just want to give y'all a sense of feel or kind of sense of how it is to be in my type of shoes of what I go through and all that stuff, or what I went through too. And maybe, hopefully, what I showed y'all from the stove and all that, y'all can kind of imagine it of how it happened and all that stuff. I'm a visual person, that's why. So yeah, well, thanks again, guys. Sorry that this video is an hour long, but it's a good one though. I'm kind of glad I opened up about it. Alright, guys. Well, thank y'all for listening. Y'all have yourselves a great week. Remember, stay positive. Don't let anything bring you down. Keep working hard. Keep fighting. Not literally, but keep fighting to move up, going over that bumpy road, and keep living life. And I will catch y'all later. All right, guys. See ya.